Typically, we come to conferences like this and we hear about how to do more with less, how to drive revenue by putting a new widget on our websites, how to capture more email, how to use games to get more readers, or how to work with or against Google to squeeze a few more pennies out of digital advertising. This year, the big discussion on almost everybody's mind, it seems to be AI. The question of will it or be a valuable tool, or will it end all of critical thought? And those are all really valuable questions, primarily focused on how to make the business of media more profitable, or perhaps more of the time, how to make it profitable at all. This session is not that. This session is about purpose instead of profit, and it's about how we turned our publishing company around by redefining our role as a community connector. Hi, everybody. I'm Käthe Lemon. If you haven't met me before, I'm the president and co-owner of RedPoint Media Group in Calgary, Alberta. For almost 30 years, RedPoint has been publishing city and regional magazines, as well as custom content and publications. We're one of the largest independently owned media companies in the province and one of the most highly respected and awarded publishers in Western Canada. I've worked for RedPoint since 2006, starting as the editor of our flagship publication Avenue. And in February 2023, my business partner and I bought the company after acting as CFO and president respectively for 2 years. None of us have control over whether or not we are profitable. There are so many factors outside of the control of the whole company, but especially outside of the direct impact of the vast majority of the people who work on creating a magazine. From technology disruption to shifts in global marketing spend, where the money goes often has nothing directly to do with anything that we create or do at our individual magazines. For most of the time I've been working in this industry, that has made the work profoundly disheartening for those of us who dedicate our lives and careers to magazine. And let's be clear, for very many people in the industry, it is their life, their heart, their soul, not just their career, that they pour into the magazines they work for. Every magazine and every worker on every magazine can and should work on, serve, and advance the purpose of that magazine every single day. And this is what we have control over. So working towards our purpose rather than profit means the work is in and of itself more rewarding. But even better, it's also often more profitable. And I certainly didn't come up with this idea. If you haven't already, please do read Simon Sinek's Start With Why for more on this particular topic about how profitability and purpose are linked. At RedPoint, our purpose has moved from the curation model to a connection model, from being a fairly traditional magazine publishing company with all the bells and whistles of a full suite of digital and in-person offerings to a social venture focused on connection. And this shift has affected every single thing we do throughout the business. And I believe it's the reason we've turned the company around in a relatively short period. In a lot of ways, when it was doing its job correctly, the media was the original social venture. Media companies exist to fulfill a social mission, creating valued content through a sustainable business model. Magazine publishers are not nonprofits. We want to make money, but we also want to make great content. And the industry views the companies that can balance those two missions as the most truly successful. News media in particular, but lifestyle media as well, and industry publications also have a way that they serve a social purpose that goes beyond readership and revenue models. At a city magazine, when we do our job well, we are an economic catalyst for the whole city or region by highlighting local companies, organizations, and arts. We drive vibrancy by encouraging both attendance and also knowledge, pride, and appreciation of the local culture. We shine a light on social problems and the people working to solve them. And we help newcomers navigate the city or region and grow a sense of belonging in that place. But somewhere along the line, we stopped serving the social mission and focused increasingly on making money. At RedPoint Media, that meant that we focused on stories we thought were most palatable for advertisers. Instead of seeing the advertising as the way to pay for the content, we started seeing the content as the way to sell the advertising. We didn't necessarily stop thinking about the reader, but we thought about them less, and we thought about them as eyeballs and attention spans that we were selling. But worse, we started to really believe our own bullshit. We saw ourselves as the curators of the content, and by extension, we saw the readers as the waiting and empty vessels for us to pour our expertise into. Sure, the reader still mattered in that model. We had endless meetings about demographics and then later consumer profiles of the reader. We weren't creating these personas in order to create better content for that group, though. We were really doing it in order to make it easier to sell the readers to the advertisers. And I think we started to lose our audience because we started to lose their trust. We lost their trust because even though we were telling them the truth, we were telling them that for our own benefit, not for theirs. Truth, trust, and relationship cannot be separated. Trust is built in part by sharing information that's not only true, but that benefits the receiver of the information rather than the sender. We lost the trust of our readership, and for a city or regional magazine, that pretty quickly means the advertisers too. We failed at our mission. We did not live up to the social contract. And I would say this is true broadly of the media, but I'll speak specifically about how it was true for Avenue and RedPoint. In our previous iteration, we said we were Calgary's premier city lifestyle magazine and the authority on the best of the life in the city. We saw ourselves as the curators of an aspirational lifestyle, by which we really meant we saw ourselves as experts at picking the best stuff, the most of it really expensive, and pointing out the best restaurants, deciding which arts events were worth attending. We were the gatekeepers of taste. We didn't ask readers what they liked. If they had taste, they liked what we told them to like. We were also curating our readers to serve them up to advertisers. We curated, we informed, we educated, we selected, and we sold. But we didn't connect. We were always at a remove from our readers and to a certain extent, always really at a remove from our clients. The work we created served a very narrow audience, defined in ways that they did not define themselves because we weren't really connecting with them. We had readers, but we didn't have community because we weren't even trying to have community. We couldn't have community with people who we saw as so much cattle to be herded and sold. When we took over RedPoint, we were just coming out of the pandemic. The company was a fraction of its pre-pandemic self. We'd lost close to 2/3 of the staff and about the same percentage of the revenue. But a lot of people still loved our flagship brand, Avenue, including our staff and my business partner and I. Buying this company was a heart decision, not a brain decision. We bought it because we believed it needed to exist for the city. We knew that we had to make a lot of changes and that they weren't the add a new widget to the website or create a new email acquisition strategy type of change. We were really in an existential crisis and we needed fundamental life-altering differences to how we did pretty much every single thing that we did. Every element of the business, from editorial to production, ad sales to distribution, all of it had to be rethought. But we also knew it was worth it to do because we believed that if we made the company into what we thought it could be, it would serve one of the most fundamental needs humans have, to connect with one another. Curation is a top-down concept. We are the experts and we tell readers what to think. Our company was very top-down too, but connection is not hierarchical. Looking back, what we've realized is that the first step toward being a purpose-driven organization focused on connection was the process of articulating our purpose. The entire company participated in this over about a month. Each employee wrote a version of their purpose statement. Then they got together in groups of 2 where they were matched with someone they didn't work with day to day. They wrote a new statement for the company together. Then it was groups of 4, groups of 8, and finally, everyone together in a marathon session to create RedPoint's new mission statement, which is RedPoint Media Group connects communities and engages audience through trusted storytelling. It was definitely a cumbersome and tiring process, but every single employee was part of it. It wasn't me and my business partner saying, hey, this is our new mission, buy into it. We all believed in it and we understood what we were talking about. We could walk the talk. If we connect communities, we have to start by connecting with our own internal community. Unlike most mission statements, this one gets used. I hear our team use it all the time. It's not only just in presentations to clients, they use it to describe the company. They use it to when they're trying to make decisions about their work, both what work to do, but also what work not to do. Connection is the focus. And focusing on connection means that we focus on work that has intrinsic social value to our community. Often it has turned out that that work looks pretty similar to what we were doing before. We still create print magazines and digital content, but it does mean that we choose the stories through a lens of connecting rather than informing. It means that we're trying to figure out how to connect more people more deeply to each other, and that in some cases we loosen our hold on the content. with the hopes of partnering to get more people to connect to the city that we believe we have an active and important role in not only writing about, but actively building and making better. For the Avenue editorial team, one of the biggest challenges has been in how we think about our sources. In the past, we cultivated experts who we went back to over and over and over again. These were the best people with the best taste. In the curation model, we had our own canon of sources. These were the people, organizations, and stores that were our go-tos. But in the connection model, we're really trying to always find new sources. And part of what makes something great is that we've discovered something new and we're sharing it with our readers to grow their connection to the city and region. The editorial team also now tracks all quoted sources with the goal of being more representative of the gender, racial, and geographic diversity of our city. But to circle back to the beginning, while I might personally be happier going broke, helping to build connections between our communities, most people, probably including my business partner, either don't feel that way or can't afford to follow through on that. Fortunately, at RedPoint, we found it's not a choice we've had to make. Moving forward with a business plan to be a social venture focused on connection has been the key to our success in pretty much every metric. For our staff, we've had higher retention. We haven't had a single creative team member leave since we started explicitly focusing on connection. We've also had higher employee engagement, and results in our employee net promoter survey went from a score of -3 before the pandemic to -20 in late 2020 to +62 in our most recent results. Another change has been our relationship to our readers. Our business model traditionally has been free key stand pickup with fewer than 1% of copies going to subscribers. We're now being much more open and direct about how we need our readers' support specifically and giving them a range of options to support and connect with us and with other local businesses through us. Buy a membership, buy a ticket, buy a subscription, fill out a survey, sign up for a newsletter, share with a friend, and they do. When we ask them, they have responded. And sometimes it's just telling people that you need their help is enough. We actually want to keep our content free. Again, we think the magazines are important for people to be able to connect to the city. We think enough of our readers see the value in supporting something that's free for others. It's a different version of ROI. They aren't buying exclusive access to the content. They're investing in a connected city, which is a city they want to live in. And for a lot of the content we create, exclusivity isn't really a benefit anyway. If you're the only one who knows about a great new restaurant, it's not going to be open for very long. Our readership has increased. In 2023, we increased our circulation from 37,000 copies to 45,000 copies, and we maintained our pickup rate of approximately 97% per issue. We have also had organic newsletter growth of almost 30% year over year since 2020. This is without any paid advertising outside of our own channels. We've also had year over year increases in page views. We've had a significant increase in our event attendance. We hosted our largest ever Top 40 Under 40 event in 2023 with double the attendance of our 2022 event, which was in turn the largest attendance up to that point. For a magazine that's almost entirely funded by advertising, it is very easy to lose reader trust. We have to not only guard against bias, we have to guard against the appearance of bias. The assumption is that we would write about our advertisers, so it has to be very, very clear how and why we make the choices we make. In our latest reader survey, 90.55% of respondents agreed or strongly agreed that Avenue was a trustworthy source of information. And it's not just about editorial and a changing relationship to our readers. All aspects of our business have changed, including the way we talk to our clients about the work we do. We are reframing the value of magazine advertising. It's not about buying a space or buying access to our audience or even getting brand alliance with a trusted source. When you buy an ad in a magazine, you help support the future for your community that you want to be part of. You help provide the space for the passion of the people that are part of the community, whether that's your geographic community, your interest group community, what have you. You help support coverage of the community in areas that would never and could never advertise. Again, it's about connection. Advertisers need to connect with their community by supporting the publication that helps them connect with each other and helps them become more resilient. It's also about giving your clients an opportunity to be part of something bigger. This is probably the area where we've had the most effect on the business because it's the biggest shift. Maybe that's what happens when the editor becomes the owner, but I really found that no one wants to talk about advertising, maybe least of all me, but everybody wants to connect. The shift is from talking about advertising to talking about connection, and it's helped us have a different conversation with our client about their message, and it's really opened doors with organizations and companies that have been closed to us before. And all of this is showing up in our overall results. In Q1 2022, we lost approximately $120,000. In Q1 2023, we made $80,000. And we're on track for a year-end turnaround of about $600,000 on revenues of approximately $3.2 million. But we're also having a lot more fun. And a big part of that is because every day we have a success. We don't have profit every day, but because we have worked towards our purpose and that's central, we have success. Our purpose is the main thing that we're focused on. It's not over on the side after we make some money. And that has really been the change that has turned this company around. Thank you.